Okay, so we actually have two exercises this week, but don't worry, I'm going to do these walkthroughs along here with you. So you can essentially, if you walk through these videos, and then I'll have you add a couple of things on your own. But we're going to be using the graph editor to make these animations. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've created a dice model for you, and just to show you what we're going to be doing. So this is the animation, right? We're going to be animating this ball, this dice, kind of tumbling through the air, rotating on multiple axes, right? And then bouncing and hitting the ground and trying to do this in a believable way, right? So if we look at the side view here or the front view, we can see how we're going to go about doing this using keyframes, using the graph editor, and yeah, beginning our animations, okay? So let me stop this here and go ahead and open up your single die. And in fact, I'll just do this here again with you guys, just so you can. So single dice. Okay, so here's our dice. Okay, and I'll chop this video up so it's not one long, like 30-minute video or whatever, but we can see I'm already on animation and I have my ball. And in fact, actually, oh no, okay, I'll keep it on this here. But go ahead and in your viewport, let's make a surface just with the cube tool. Just gonna come into modeling. What is going on here? Oh, that's because I didn't have. Sorry, I didn't have what do you call it? The creative control thing. Watch. So come up to create, polygon primitives, and interactive creation. So I'm going to check this back on here, click my cube, and I'm just gonna make a little surface. Okay, and then let's select our dice, kind of line it up, get it on the table, and we're gonna do the same kind of animation that I had just been working on here. So, okay, so we have our dice. And we're going to just animate kind of a bounce from here to maybe here, and then just tumbling a little bit, and then just kind of finishing over here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our timeline. So how many frames per second do we want? So let's just, for our purposes, let's do 60. Okay, and then I'm going to set this to 500. Okay, set this to 500, set this here. Okay, so with 500 frames, we are working with roughly 8 seconds, but the whole animation is not going to be 8 seconds because we're gonna time the bounce and the roll and probably about 5 seconds here. But just so we have enough space to work with, and then this to 1, and this to 1. I don't know why mine keeps defaulting to 3. I don't know if yours is doing that as well. Okay, so let's start. Let me just double check, make sure I'm lined up. Okay, so let's start on our first frame with our dice selected, and we're gonna hit S to set our keyframe. Okay, you can see in the graph editor, they're setting a keyframe here, and this is showing you there's a keyframe that's locked into all of these different values. Okay, so then we're gonna move to, let's come to 300 maybe. It's about 5 seconds in. Oh, actually, yeah, we can always change and shorten this. So let's come to 300, and let's move to about maybe right here, a little bit past halfway, because we want to give a little bit of room for the bounce to happen and kind of the rolling and the tumbling. So we're on frame 300. We've put our dice where we want, and then go ahead and hit S here. So that puts in our keyframe. And then if we just play the animation, right, not very interesting, not a lot happening. We're basically just moving. We're moving across, then we stop, and then nothing. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add the height to this. So on the y-axis, so in between, right? So in between 1 and 300, let's come to 150. which is the exact halfway point. And then let's kind of just come up, I don't know, maybe like that. Okay. And then go ahead and hit S here to set keyframe, right? And you'll know that you set your keyframes by the little red dash. Okay. And then you should constantly be checking your animations, right? Just making sure they're doing what you want them to do. Okay. Okay, so now we need to start doing a couple things here. We want to make this arc a bit more believable, because right now it doesn't quite have the speed that I would like it to, right? It's kind of it's slow to start, and it's kind of lingering and then coming down slow. We're gonna add a rotation and some spin as well, but let's start by isolating the y translate, right? So the y is the distance that it's moving, up and down. So we have our die selected. You can just click on translate y to see this arc by itself. So if we were to select this curve, and remember, this makes it a linear thing where it just comes to an angle, this would look pretty funny as far as the arc of an object in motion being thrown or bounced or dropped. So you can just play this here. You can see it's goofy, right? This doesn't look correct. So that's definitely not what we want to do. So I'm just going to undo. So what I would suggest doing for something like this is we would play with these Bezier curves. This one we want to leave, because as the object kind of comes in the air, it is going to have some hang time for a moment and then come back down fast. But we want the start and the stop to be fast. So I'm going to select this keyframe, and I'm going to select the Bezier curve here, and then with the middle mouse button, I'm going to even this out. So this is straight, right? So this is straight. We get a nice kind of sweeping arc up. And then same thing here. I'm going to select this Bezier, I'm going to select this keyframe, select this curve, and then with the middle mouse button, click and drag that up. Okay, so now we have a sweeping arc. Okay, we're going to fix some of this, it's kind of the way that it's taking off and landing here, but that's fine. That gives us a better arc. Okay, so now we're going to add some rotation here. We're going to, let me stop the animation, come to the first keyframe. Okay, so right now our rotate XYZ, this is all set at 0, right? So you can be fine with that, but you can also, one thing you can do, which I wouldn't recommend doing this a lot, but you can turn auto keyframe on, meaning that anytime you make a change, Maya will automatically add a keyframe there. It can be good kind of as you're getting through a good workflow and you're on top of things. But I would say for now, or at least for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this off just so I can manually set the keyframes that I want. Okay. So from here, basically, I would say, so this frame 300 is where the die hit the first bounce, but the roll is going to continue, right? So we're gonna say, let's say from 300, let's say 440. Okay, at 440, we're gonna have a complete. Let's set my rotation, the z-axis. I'm gonna set it to, let's say negative 1080. Okay, and then I'm going to set my keyframe. Okay, so this is going to be 3 full rotations. Now, something funny has kind of happened here. So if you watch here and I play the animation, I want you to see what comes up, what happens here. So it doesn't actually start doing the rotations until the keyframe before it, because these keyframes before were locked, right? Or at least those keyframes had values set. So on the rotate Z, do you see how it's flat, it's flat, it's flat, and then this starts the rotation? I'm going to delete these first two. Remember, I'm on rotate Z, okay? I'm going to delete these. This way the rotation starts at the beginning. It starts at that first keyframe. So now as I scrub through, right, you can see it starts to rotate and then tumble and right. And then, yeah, don't worry about this. We're going to fix all that. But just getting that rotation correct, okay? Okay. And then also what I want to do is I want to put a Z rotation on it as well. So it's not just quite a front flip type of a thing. That this way it's a little bit more dynamic and kind of spinning, you know, kind of count, or, you know, it's rotating while it's spinning as well. So for that, we're going to come to translate X, okay? Oh, sorry, rotate X, and let me come back to my view here. So first keyframe, and I'm going to come back to this keyframe here. Okay, 440. And here I'm going to use this. This says side, but this is the way that I have my plane set up. I'm going to hit E for rotate here, and I'm going to do just one rotation, 360 degrees. In fact, it'd be easier to just come up here, negative 360. And then remember, I'm going to hit S. Okay, and then it did the same thing, right? Because I had those prior two keyframes where the rotation of the x-axis was at 0, it doesn't start the rotation until the keyframe before. And let me scale this in here. So what's going on here? Sorry, hang on. This graph editor is a little goofy. Okay, so let me delete these two here. Okay, this way that rotation starts, right? If I play here, you can see it's rotating, but then it's also spinning as well, just to give us a little bit more believability here. Okay, let's see. Maybe I'll stop here just to let you guys, if you need to kind of catch up and fix parameters, I'll stop it here and then I'll start the next one, and we'll clean up the bounce, and then we'll clean up the way that it kind of moves and settles. Okay.